All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making a plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics never the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace up the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays. Network. All sports, all plays. Network. We on top of our game. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays.
Yo, what is going on, everybody? I am Ace, and this is the ASAP Sports Network, and tonight we are doing the Thursday night post-game show. But before we get started on that, I want everybody to welcome in on his very first show.
So I think what he's trying to say
to
is,
welcome in on this very first show on the ASAP Sports Network. Welcome in Trey Colas. How's it going, Trey?
I'm doing good, man. I'm thankful to be on this network and excited at the same time. So I'm a little nervous, a little jittery. First live show, so I'm ready to rock and roll. Let's get to it.
Yeah, we are all ready to rock and roll. So before we get started tonight, I want to let everybody know that tonight's show is actually being brought to you in part by Suzanne's Paparazzi Jewelry. All
products are lead and nickel. The phone number is 541-294-5218. $5 special offer for free. For free matching rings, we buy a necklace. And it's just a 24/7 shopping available. The promo code is 160920.
yes, correct.
Okay.
So Nate, besides our show being brought to you in part by Suzanne's Bling, and I want to let everybody know that tonight Nate the Great is going to be also joining us on the post-game show. What do you think about that, Nate? Are you ready to join the post-game show?
Yeah.
All right, cool. I will ask away some questions on there. Okay, so before we have that, so Nate, why don't you tell us how can you win a free T-shirt on this show?
So you can like the show, you can comment on the show, and you can share the show. It's for a chance for you to win your own free T-shirt. I don't have a free T-shirt. I don't have a T-shirt yet. Ace, I know you have one. Trey probably doesn't have one. A lot of other analysts on the network do not have one. So we would be jealous in a way.
But here's the thing, though, too. So let's say that you're watching the show, but maybe you can't comment, or maybe you're just afraid to. But hey, that's okay. If you still want a T-shirt, there's still a way you can get a T-shirt. All you have to do is you pay $24.99 plus shipping and handling. That's all you have to do. And when you order that ASAP shirt, guess what? You get your shirt ASAP. That's all it is. That's all it is. $25 plus shipping and handling. What do you think about that? Trey, isn't that a spectacular deal?
That is a great deal. You can't even get that on your nearest Walmart right now. So that is a great deal, getting $24.95, and it's a great shirt. I'm fixing to order one myself. So and I'm thinking I'm going to order one for my girl too. So it's good.
All right. So now that we got that out of the way, let me tell you, going into this game tonight, everybody knew that this was going to be a big game. You have the Tennessee Titans versus the Indianapolis Colts. This was a big game in the AFC South. this was basically for first place. You go in, the Titans were in first, the Colts were right behind them, but everybody knows that Colts defense has been playing really, really good. But then you look at the Titans side of the ball, and they have that bad man in Derrick Henry. So everybody was waiting to see, could this Colts team slow down Derrick Henry? And let me tell you what, they did. And actually, we have our first question of the night. So our first, right there, I'm sorry. All right, so our first question of the night, and I'll go to Trey on this one. So Trey, true or false, Rivers gets praised like Peyton Manning, but he's just an off-brand of Eli Manning. What do you think?
Yes, can I say yes and no on this one?
Whatever you feel.
Rivers gets praised for being in the league for 17 years. But at the same time, I guess the question is true because he does get praised for like tonight he passed Dan Marino fifth all time on the passing record list past Dan Marino, which today's day and age really doesn't mean anything because it's a pass happy league now. Where back in Dan Marino's, it's like more run heavy and stuff like that. So those stats go out the window. But other than that, Phillip Rivers hasn't won the big games when it's come down to yes, he made it to the AFC Championship game back when he was with the Chargers. But at the same time, he's choked on so many levels whatsoever. But he's going to have all the stats, all the glory, and everything like that. So I guess the answer is actually true on that.
Now, I don't know if you saw our show yesterday, our Sports Minute, but this was actually one of the things that we had talked about. We had talked about Phillip Rivers, and we talked about, is Phillip Rivers a future Hall of Famer? And in that question, we had brought up, well, hold on, because in that same draft class, he was with Eli Manning and Roethlisberger. Now, both of them have won 2 rings. Right now, Rivers has nothing. But if you look at Phillip Rivers' numbers, they're technically Hall of Fame worthy. He's done a spectacular job. And I don't know if you knew this or not, but Phillips has never actually missed a start since he came into the NFL.
That is correct. I did know that he has not missed a start. Yes, he has all the stats and accolades, but at some point, don't we got to take in playoff moments as well? Like when has he really shown? The years he went to the AFC Championship game and lost big time against the New England Patriots, he had LaDainian Tomlinson carrying the load for him. He wasn't that great. But saying that, I think that they will take Phillip Rivers in the Hall of Fame just because of the stats. And after 5 years of being absent, just like Eli Manning's on that Cubs too. I'm still not a fan of Eli Manning being in the Hall of Fame, but then again, he has those big 2-time throws against the New England Patriots. So that's what people remember Eli Manning for, and I think that's what today's generations, because it's all about digital and the YouTube sensation, that everyone's like, they're not going to look at stats. They're going to be like looking at those plays and those, I guess, those Heisman-like plays, as in college, like you have those Heisman moments. Phillip Rivers, I just don't see him having that, but he's going to have all the stats and everything like that. So if after 4 years after he's retired, yes, after all the memories gone, washed away, they're going to look at his stats and say, yeah, this guy's a true Hall of Famer. But do I personally think he should be in there? I don't think so.
So here, I'm going to answer Alex's question since you said you're kind of leaning both ways on that. My answer on this, on the true or false side, is that does he get the praise? Yeah, absolutely. He gets praise just like Peyton does. When things go right on the teams he plays on, Rivers gets a whole bunch of praise. He does. Now, is he just an off-brand of Eli Manning? No. And here's why. Because to me, if I want Phillip Rivers or Eli Manning, which one am I taking? I'm gonna be flat out honest with you right now, and I'm gonna say I'm gonna take Phillip Rivers almost any day over Eli Manning. So no, he's not just a off-brand of Eli Manning. I actually truly believe that he's better than Eli Manning is. And I know I might get a lot of flack about that. Huh?
Yeah, I think if you would switch, because remember, them two basically switched spots in the draft too.
Yeah.
So if you would have picked, if Phillip Rivers was in the New York Giants situation, do you think Phillip Rivers would win those 2 Super Bowls as Eli Manning did? And the answer is questionably yes, especially with that defense that the New York Giants had at the time. So That answer your question right there. And would Eli Manning be able to lead those Chargers teams to the championship game? I would think the answer is no. So that's how I think about that.
So Nate, what is your answer on that? True or false? Does he get the praise like Peyton, and is he just an off-brand like Eli Manning?
To answer the second part of that question, no, I don't think he's an off-brand of Eli Manning. He has the stats, but the problem with Philip Rivers is, he has taken his team to the playoffs, but not most. About half of his seasons, he's had 8-8 records, 5-11 records. He hasn't been able to translate those stats into wins, and so I don't think that Philip Rivers should be a first ballot Hall of Famer. I've been keep on going back and forth on whether he should be considered a Hall of Famer, though. I said yes on yesterday's show, but I had to really think about that this morning.
Yeah, I saw you kind of message back and say, you know what, I was thinking about this, but you know what, that's okay. So, going into tonight's game, how we have the Titans versus the Colts, and this kind of proves in a way that when Philip Rivers has a running game, his numbers actually inflate. He seems to be a much better quarterback when he actually has a running game. Now, when you look at this Colts team, they not only have one running back. This Indianapolis Colts team loves the running back by committee. They actually have 3. I would say there's really 2 really good ones, and then there's a decent one in Wilkins. Jonathan Taylor, I think, is going to be a stud for a while. He's going to put up some good numbers. His only problem is right now is Jonathan Taylor has a fumbling issue. That's his biggest problem. But now, did anybody see Hines playing this good? Tonight, Hines had 115 total scrimmage yards and 2 touchdowns. He's the running back that stepped up tonight for the Colts, which I must say kind of saddened me a little bit because Jonathan Taylor was on my fantasy team, so that one really, really hurt. So, but with that being said, Trey, what is your thoughts on that? Do you think that the running backs tonight really helped Philip Rivers out?
Oh yeah, definitely. With that running game, he was able to do the play action pass and everything like that to get to his wide receivers. And remember, like you said, Fred Taylor, the running back, he's had problems fumbling the ball throughout his whole college career as well. He had a big key fumble last week, but I did not see what's his name, Hines, playing this well tonight. In fact, I didn't even know by committee. Taylor was actually only had 200 yards rushing for the season. And so they basically share those carries in and out. And it's all about committee. So with them pounding the ball, you just saw the playbook open up more for Philip Rivers tonight. And he can get up to those wide receivers. And Pascal's going to be a stud coming in. You're also going to have T.Y. Hilton's coming off a hamstring injury. He's not even in elite form right now. And you just saw what Philip Rivers did tonight. He just 308 yards passing, only 10 incomplete passes, 1 TD, only 1 sack. So opening up the run game opens up the whole offense, what Frank Wright wants to do as the whole unit as on the team, as he wanted to do in Philadelphia. Remember back in Philadelphia when he was offensive coordinator, they were a run-heavy team, and it opened up all those weapons for the Philadelphia Eagles. So that run game is crucial. And what I give credit to Frank Wright and Philip Rivers is they stick with the run no matter if it's going well or not. And some teams can take notice of that. Even though it's not going well for you, you just got to keep sticking. Because sometimes you're going to wear that other defensive lineman down. So, yeah, that run game is going to help Philip Rivers a lot, especially in a 17th-year career.
I agree with you that on the Hines part, especially I did not see Hines really playing this well tonight. Hold on. But the one receiver that I think you probably forgot to mention in there was actually Michael Pittman. Michael Pittman he's going to be a good receiver too. So I think once you have Pittman out there, you have Pascal, and then you have a T.Y. Hilton that's actually healthy. You actually have three decent receivers. But when you've looked at Hilton this whole year, Hilton hasn't been Hilton. This has not been what you would call a great year for Hilton. Rivers and Hilton has not been in sync. They have not been that 1-2 punch like you would think that they would be. So, Nate, I want to know your honest opinion. What do you think is going on with T.Y. Hilton? I know that he's coming off of a hamstring injury, but it hasn't been like that this whole year. So what do you think is going on with T.Y. Hilton?
Different quarterback, so different style of play.
It could be.
Kobe Brissett, and you also had Andrew Luck. But then you go and bring in a Philip Rivers, and it might set up his game a little bit.
All right, so Alex is actually asking another question, and his question is true or false, the key to stopping the Titans starts with shutting down Derrick Henry. And I'll tell you what, that is absolutely true. There's no even denying that anyway.
Oh, yeah.
This Titans team runs through Derrick Henry. If you can shut down Derrick Henry, you can beat the Titans. Look what happened tonight. The Colts were able to shut down Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry did not have a very good night, and the Titans had a difficult time scoring the ball. They had to put the ball in the hands of Ryan Tannehill, and he could not get the job done. Now, I know since coming to Tennessee, Tannehill's numbers has been a lot better. They have been a lot better. But here's the difference. What's the difference between of him being in Miami and him being in Tennessee? There's one big difference. Not only weapons, he's now got a running game. In Miami, he didn't really have a running game. Yes, you might say he had a Jay Ajayi. Okay, Jay Ajayi might be known for maybe 2 or 3 good games that he really had. Other than that, Jay Ajayi really didn't do much after that. So then he comes to Tennessee, and then he gets a running back in Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry is full-blown like beast mode. This guy's a full-blown beast. He's complete. This guy's tough to stop. Mm-hmm. So if you cannot slow down Derrick Henry, what does that do? That opens up your passing game because the defense is going to focus on shutting him down. So they stack the boxes. And then it leaves everything wide open on the outside. So then he can throw it to AJ Brown. He can throw it to Corey Davis. So, Nate, what do you think? True or false? The key to stopping the Titans starts with shutting down Derrick Henry.
I think that has been shown last year when the Titans played the Broncos and they lost 16-0. Derrick Henry was stopped in that, and I'm bringing up a homer statement there, but I mean a lot of games like that where Derrick Henry was stopped since then have been they haven't done as well.
Nate, I must say, I don't know why I had a feeling you were going to go to the Broncos game. I just kind of had that feeling. Generally, it's usually a homer statement like that. You like to jump to the Broncos, man. I was looking for like something a little different on that, but hey, that's okay. So Trey, what do you think? Do you think that the key to stopping the Titans is to stop Derrick Henry?
Of course. It's plain and simple. You saw it first quarter today. The Colts were basically they wanted to stop Derrick Henry first, so they stacked the box first right off the bat. And what they do, they went play action pass all the way down the field. And but going back to you can say the Colts stopped Derrick Henry. At the same time, he had 19 carries for 103 yards. So he still had those big. But you also got to remember the Titans were also leading into the third quarter until they went the third quarter debacle, where they had that shank punt that led them to on the 30-yard line for Tennessee, and then that block punt that led to a touchdown. So therefore at that point they had to start going to the passing game. But yes, the Indianapolis Colts did shut down Henry. Henry did have some 20-yard gains. He's going to have those. Whatever. So the Colts did as a whole. If you watch the game, they did shut him down for the most part. But to answer the question, it's true. If you take away Henry, Tannehill hasn't proven yet that he can lead a team by himself. And you saw that last year in the AFC playoff when the Kansas City Chiefs, they were down 10 10 points early, but then they came storming back, and then they had to lean on Tannehill to lead the way, and you just saw it's a debacle. Tannehill's going to be he's a good play action quarterback. In fact, I was actually going to lead into this this debate about Tannehill possibly how come he's not in the MVP talk, but we've shown tonight why, because Derrick Henry is the full focus on that team.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So with that being said, because I understand that Derrick Henry had 105 yards, but it's Derrick Henry. And when you can say you stopped Derrick Henry to 105 yards, guess what? You actually had a relatively good night. because this guy can put up 170 to 200 yards a night against you. If you can stop him to 105, you had a great night against him.
Right. That's basically what I was saying is like, here we are saying he had a horrible game, but yet he still had 103 yards rushing. So in his eyes, that was a horrible game, but that just proves our point that you have to stop Derrick Henry first and foremost.
Now, one thing I will say in this is that when you look at the first quarter, the Titans were actually moving the ball relatively well in the first quarter. Now, you look at, I think, a key aspect in that first quarter that kind of shifted the momentum a little bit is that Tannehill had A.J. Brown.
Mm-hmm.
I would say he had like 3 steps on the defender. If he makes that catch, that's 6. That is 6 points. And he drops it. He drops it, and that killed it right there because that's now a punt. So that shifted all the momentum on that. But this is not the first week that A.J. Brown has done that. He did it last week too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I actually tweeted after that first drive. I actually tweeted out this Tennessee Titans offense is scary good. Like they have Ollie Webb, they have a great tight end, they have a great receiver, they have a Hall of Fame running back, and then Tannehill, if he's playing like this. But then, as soon as I tweeted that out, he dropped that pass, and then if he scores that touchdown, if he scores that touchdown, then we're not talking about the Indianapolis Colts run game this game because they're behind 2 scores. Am I correct? They've been 14-3.
Yes, correct.
And so then
it would have been
playing, and then you're going to start throwing the ball a little bit more and leaning on Phillip Rivers' arm and that awkward throwing motion that he has, which I still don't understand how he gets those balls the way he does, but it makes me sick watching that. But
he's got the weird motion of throwing that I'm like, how does he throw like that? I don't.
Maybe T.Y. Hilton doesn't get it either.
That's what I was thinking. That's what we were saying earlier. I was thinking T.Y. Hilton. He went from Andrew Luck throwing darts to Brissett, whatever his name is, not hitting them, and now you have an awkward arm angle. So maybe that's going on with T.Y. Hilton too. So he just can't get a good grip on who's throwing the ball to him. But
right,
yeah.
And just give me a minute, Brandon Herrera. We will get to your question in 1 minute. We will answer that. We're just breaking down this game a little bit, and then we will get to that question. So the other thing I want to touch on is when you look at the final score in this game, this looks like a pure domination by the Colts, which in a way it was. But if you look at the amount of points that Tennessee left off the board, because you have to look at what Tennessee did twice. They had the ball twice in Indianapolis territory, and they went for it on 4th down twice when they could have taken field goals. That's 6 points there. That's 6 points there. And then Gostkowski misses a field goal, his 8th field goal missed of the year. Now, maybe you guys agree with me on this and maybe you don't. But to me, the only reason why Gostkowski is still kicking for them right now for the Tennessee Titans is because of the name, is because he has 3 rings with the Patriots. That is the only reason he's still kicking on this team. Other than that, if he's any other kicker, if you missed 8 kicks, you're gone. You're history, brother. Like, I'm just saying.
Well, unless you're PJ Tucker. I'm not PJ Tucker. Tucker for the Baltimore Ravens, accurate kicker for other than
Justin
him.
Tucker.
Yeah, Justin Tucker.
Justin Tucker's like one of the most accurate kickers ever.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Other than him, any kicker would be gone. If Tucker had a horrible season, he had a bad year, they'll still bring him back. But yes, you're right. It's because of those 3 championships for the New England Patriots. That's the only reason why he's still there. And Vrabel's loyal to him for some odd reason. He wouldn't even make the plane ride home.
So Nate, does this? Go ahead.
I said he wouldn't even be
Right?
able to get on
So
the bus
Nate,
to go
does
home.
this surprise you? Yeah, Nate, does this surprise you that Gostkowski is still the kicker on the Tennessee Titans?
Absolutely. I mean, I didn't know the number until now about their 8 missing field goals, but I think he missed quite a few because I saw that first game against Denver, and yeah, bringing my team up again. But I saw that, and I saw that he missed quite a few in that game as well. And
Yeah,
I'm like,
something
that
about
dude's
him this
gonna
year.
be. Although I will have to say, my fantasy kicker was on a bye week. I just to make things funny, I drafted him. I mean, not drafted him. I signed him for a week for him to play 1 week, and I still beat my opponent.
Gostkowski?
I signed Koskowski for 1 week because
Well,
my other kicker was on a bye.
Well, I'll tell you, you got lucky then. You're lucky. You're lucky the game wasn't on the line because with the way he's kicking this year, man, I don't know. Like that is one thing that I'm looking at this Tennessee team right now, and I'm like, if Tennessee makes the playoffs, I really don't know how much confidence he has right now with as many field goals as he's missed. And I think it might be a lack of confidence, honestly, because when you start missing that many field goals, that gets you in your head. So if they make it a deep playoff run, let's say they make a deep playoff run, they better hope that Gostkowski doesn't have to come out and kick the game-winning field goal with the way he's kicking right now.
I mean, he's done it once. That was a joke
Now,
statement.
besides the missed field goal, no, I get it. Now, besides the missed field goal that Gostkowski had tonight, the special teams actually killed Tennessee tonight.
Yep.
Because when you look at Daniels, the punter for Tennessee, the
Mhm.
dude kicked a 17-yard punt. 17 yards. So they had Huh?
I was gonna say I don't even think it got a first down.
No, it was 17 yards, but it gave him the ball. It gave him the ball at the 30, and with the way that the Colts were moving the ball, if you give them the ball at the 30, I mean, you're not stopping them tonight because they were moving that ball up and down. We didn't see the Colts punter until the fourth quarter.
Yeah. Well, that's because Frank Wright loves going for it on fourth downs. But you also got to remember going back to Tennessee left points on the board. Colts left points on the board as well. How many times did they go for it on fourth down at the 1 yard line? But they got that point back because of the shank punt. But there was another time they're in the territory and they went for it on fourth down and they didn't get it. So I think they were 2 for 4 on fourth downs tonight. So
yeah,
I said, the special teams let them down tonight.
Yeah, and if you count, go ahead, Nate.
This game should be considered the fourth down bowl.
It was, but I guess if you get into the analytics and everything now, if you look at the game years ago, those fourth downs are no brainers. Those are field goals. Those are you're taking the points. Those are field goals. But now coaches are like, you know what? It's a score high league now. So teams are scoring points like crazy. So now guess what? We're going for it on fourth down, especially this year with the lack of practices and OTAs and preseason stuff. So the defense isn't quite as good this year as they have in the past. So now you're like, hey, let's go for that throat. We're gonna
Okay, so I think he's cutting out again.
No, I'm back.
Okay.
Yep, I'm back. So so Brandon Herrera, yes, it was a 17-yard punt. That's legitimately what it was. It was a flat out shank. It was that bad.
And then I think the block punt, the guy didn't even get hands on. I think it hit his face mask when he does. So
Yeah. When Speed blocked it, yeah. So that's why I said if you look at the special teams, you have a missed field goal, you have a block punt, you have a shanked punt. this special teams really let Tennessee down tonight. So let me ask you, Trey, if you're the head coach of the Tennessee Titans and you know how bad your special teams were today, what are you doing next week in practice?
I'm bringing in okay. Here's what I'm doing. If I'm verbal, I'm bringing in I'm not cutting Gostkowski. I'm bringing in a kicker to try out, I guess you would say, and put the more pressure on him and say your job's on the line next week for sure. Put that thought in his mind a little. Maybe that'll improve him a little bit. But going punting wise, I don't understand why they brought this guy in. And was the original punter hurt? Because this is his first game.
Yes.
Like,
the original.
He came in from a FedEx job. He took his coronavirus test in a FedEx uniform, and you expect him to go punt in an NFL game right after that? I mean, I say give the punter a little bit, because I think they also had a new deep snapper as well, or long snapper. So
yes,
it's just a work in process. But the field goal kicking, I'll give the punting team another week, especially with this 10 days off now. I think I'll give them another week. But if I'm Gostkowski or verbal, I'm bringing in another field goal kicker tomorrow and trying out.
Right.
But,
so,
yeah.
No, and I do agree with you that when you look at some of the kickers who struggle, you will see their head coaches go, we're going to bring in a kicker, but they don't always say, hey, we're going to bring in a kicker to replace him. They say we're going to bring in a kicker to compete with him and maybe light a fire under him to show him, hey, you know what? If you don't start kicking, we're going to cut you and we're going to replace you.
Yep.
So Nate, when you look at tonight's game, I know a FedEx punter, he could not deliver. I like that. That's a good pun. I like that. So when you look at Nate, when you look at tonight's game, were you expecting this much of a victory by Tennessee or by the Colts?
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if the Colts won that by, at the very most by 5 points, but by what, 14? No,
they won
17.
They won by 17. Yeah, 17.
Yeah, by 17.
17.
That was a shocker. Although Tennessee's defense has not been that great this year, so I mean, maybe, probably not. I would say no. It didn't shock me.
Here's the other issue that I had. And Trey, I'm going to get your opinion on this one, and Nate, your opinion on the same one too. Here's my other problem that I had. Tennessee is down 34-17 in the fourth quarter. There's about 6 minutes left on the clock.
Mm-hmm.
You have a 4th and 3. All you need is a first down on a 4th and 3, and you take a shot to the end zone? Are you kidding me? All you need is 3 yards to get a first down, and you're like, I'm going to throw it to the end zone. Really? Go for the freaking first down.
And I think Henry was out on that play too, man. Like, you could probably run it with Henry, and he can fall forward for 3 yards. You have a better chance of what that throw was in the end zone. But that just shows you the confidence that Verbal has in his kicker, because it's still a 3-possession game. They would just kick the field goal, it would have been 14. But with him being inaccurate, that was a no-brainer call whatsoever. And I know the telecast was questioning it, but I would have gone for it as well. But yeah, I don't understand why you wouldn't have Derrick Henry in there, do like a little bootleg motion, have Henry as an extra blocker, give you more time, little out route to your running back, whatever the case may be. But throwing it deep down the ends, I don't understand. A lot of teams you started seeing doing this. It's 4th and 1 or whatever, and they're going fade route to the outside. And I don't understand what these coaches' mentality. I think they're trying to catch them by surprise, because I think they're going to have one-on-one coverage. But that close to the end zone, no, you shouldn't. I think I don't understand it either. I think that's just Tannehill trying to make a play that he shouldn't even have to make. I think he was overthinking it a little bit too.
But the thing is that when you're looking at this, he didn't throw it to AJ Brown or Corey Davis. He threw it to his tight end and Jonnu Smith. And I'm like, if you're gonna throw it to somebody, at least throw it throw it to your big man and AJ Brown or Corey Davis or something, man. You know, and I have no problem with them going for it. That wasn't my issue. My issue was you got to be smart about it. And if you're down by 17 with 6 minutes left, you're trying to make a comeback, you don't need to go for it all right there. You need to try and get 3 or 4 yards, pick up the first down, and then take a shot in the end zone on first down, because at least now you have some more downs to play with. Basically, once you don't convert that, ball game's over. So, Nate, what is your thought on that?
I think that I think he was kind of overthinking it a bit. I mean, there's 6 minutes left on the play. You could have just handed. I mean, 6 minutes left of the game. You could have just handed it to, like, as you said, AJ Brown or somebody else to get that first down marker and keep continuing to get first down after first down. Why it's not Madden, so why do you throw it deep?
Well, it's just like Trey said. I feel like sometimes these coaches think that they can catch the defense off guard and get guys in these one-on-ones. But if you're going to try and get them in a one-on-one, you have to look at the matchups. You have to.
Mhm.
You have to see who's on who, because it's not like he's thrown to a Devontae Adams or a Julio Jones or somebody. No, he was thrown to Jonnu Smith. Now, I'm not saying that Jonnu Smith is a horrible tight end, because he's not. But
No,
I'm saying he's not your really go-to guy in a situation like that. It should be AJ Brown or Corey Davis.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I need to relook at that play and see if maybe they double teamed AJ Brown or Corey Davis. That's the only explanation I can give you. But maybe Tannehill lost confidence in AJ Brown, which I don't know why, because he only had 1 reception for 21 yards. So maybe that's why he didn't throw it.
Well,
AJ Brown tonight.
Maybe something happened, like off practice or something.
He dropped 2 passes tonight. He dropped that wide open one that would have been 6, and then he dropped one across the middle that would have been a first down. Now, AJ Brown on that second one he dropped said, he grabbed my face mask and I was being held, and I'm like, all right, well, that's typical. That's typical receiver. If receiver drops the ball, he's like, come on, man, I was held, or he did something. He grabbed my face mask or something. But that's typically what a receiver is going to do if he drops a pass. So I don't know. Maybe. Huh?
I said, yeah, that's usually what I did when I was playing football. Every time I missed a pass, nope, I was getting held, face mask, whatever. I don't drop passes. I swear to God. I'm not ready for this, coach. But yeah. Right.
And so Brandon Herrera's question that I told him I would get back to, so I'm going to get to it now. So Brandon Herrera's question is, what team needs their running back more to win? And this is actually a good question. Is it Dalvin Cook or Derrick Henry? Now, you can look at it both sides of the spectrum here, because you want to look at which quarterback are you going to trust more? Are you going to trust Tannehill more? Are you going to trust Kirk Cousins more? Well, this year, if you ask me, I got to go with Tannehill. Like, I'm going to trust him more, honestly. I'm going to. So, who means more? Well, if you're placing it off this year, I would say that Dalvin Cook means more, because Minnesota wasn't doing anything. They weren't winning any games until Dalvin Cook came back, and then they were able to win 2 games in a row. And that was because Dalvin Cook ran for over 200 yards in both games. So, Dalvin Cook.
So, what he was saying is, he said his guess is
Cook, yeah,
Dalvin Cook needs more than Derrick Henry. Huh?
He does, because he ran for. You got to look at the past 2 wins that the Vikings have had. Dalvin Cook has ran for over 200 yards in both of those games. Over 200 yards in 2 consecutive games. That's crazy. So, so Dalvin Cook means a lot to Minnesota. So Nate the Great, what do you think? What running back do you think means more, Cook or Henry?
I think it doesn't matter what year it was ever since Kirk Cousins came into the league. I mean, came into the Minnesota Vikings. Excuse me. It's been Cook. I mean, before that, you had Case Keenum, which you also had Stephon Diggs there, and you also had Adam Thielen. Keenum was very good at handing the ball off to all three of those guys. That during that time, I would say Henry, but I mean, Dalvin Cook after that.
So Trey, what do you think? Who do you think means more, Cook or Derrick Henry?
That's actually a very good question. I feel like I'm on ESPN First Take right now because that's a tough question. Honestly, you're right on it. It's Cook, just because Cook means more to that offense. Because Tannehill, this year alone, he's proven he's only thrown like two or three interceptions. He's more reliable this year. Where Kirk Cousins, ever since he became the starting quarterback for the Washington football team back when they kept franchise tagging him, he has now won those primetime big games. Where Delvin Cook is more the offense. So as far as Delvin Cook goes, as far as Miami Minnesota Vikings are going to go. Where Derrick Henry, he might have a couple of bad games here and there, but at least you have Tannehill who can throw the ball due to A.J. Brown and on accuracy levels and all that stuff. So it's Cook, because Cook can catch it out of the backfield. He can make guys miss. He can do more things on the offensive end than what Derrick Henry's a beast by every stretch of the imagination. I think Derrick Henry's the best NFL running back right now, but he's just a power running back, and he can catch the ball on the outs. But I'd rather have Delvin Cook. He's more liable for that Minnesota Viking team than Tennessee, because Cook is more of the offense for the Minnesota Vikings, if that makes any sense.
Now, I'm not going to take anything away from Kirk Cousins, because I know he has talent, but he showed the talent more when he played for Washington. He seemed to have, I don't know, and he didn't really have, I would say, as good as weapons as he did in Minnesota, but that talent he had, he showed it more in Washington. And then he came to Minnesota, and I don't know. He's had maybe one or two decent years in Minnesota, but this year has not been good at all. You take away a Stephon Diggs, and it has not been a good year for him at all. I know they drafted to Justin Jefferson, but he's still a rookie, so he's still adjusting. I think over time he's going to get better.
Oh, yeah.
And he'll definitely be the number 2 on that team. Adam Thielen is clearly the number 1, clearly. But right now, Tannehill slightly better. And I know what Brandon Herrera was saying, so Nate, I got to give you a hard time on that, because he said Case Keenum versus Kirk Cousins, and I know. Is that really debatable? Is it really debatable?
I mean, I'm not saying that Case is a good quarterback by any means, but he's definitely better than Kurt.
I would, if anything, Case Keenum had one good year in Minnesota. He fit the system for that year in Minnesota. But the other places he has played, let's look at the places that Case Keenum has played. He's played pretty much everywhere. He played in Washington. He played in Houston. Let's see. He played in Denver.
He's backing up Cleveland right now.
He's played in so many places, and the only place that he actually had success in was Minnesota. That was really the only place that he's really had any amount of success. So it's not really debatable in my opinion. But now jumping off of that, we're gonna finish. Okay, so Brandon Herrera. All right, I know we've messaged about this on Messenger before. Also, we've talked about this. Do I agree that Case Keenum should have stayed the starter in Minnesota? I said I did agree on that, and I said yes, he should have. He should have started over Kirk Cousins in Minnesota because Kirk Cousins has not really been impressive in Minnesota. Case Keenum fit that system better. But is Case Keenum a better quarterback? No, he's not a better quarterback. Maybe he should have stayed in Minnesota. That's all I'm saying on that. But, okay.
He said okay.
He'll be back in 5 seconds. There you go.
I'm back. Okay. So, jumping back to that now. After watching the game tonight, you now have Tennessee Titans and the Indianapolis Colts that are right there, but that actually puts the Indianapolis Colts over the Tennessee Titans. Mm-hmm. And so at this point, and I'll start with Trey on this one. At this point, who wins the AFC South? Is it going to be the Colts or is it going to be the Titans?
Oh, man, that's a tough one. Again, they're playing again in 2 weeks in Indianapolis. So, but I'm just looking at their schedules right now, man. Colts have a tough schedule. They have Green Bay next. Then they have to play Tennessee. Then they have to travel to Houston. Then they play the Vegas Raiders. And then they play Houston again. And then they go to Pitt. And then they finish the season with Jacksonville. So tell me where's a guaranteed win besides the Jacksonville game in that. Tennessee, you have Baltimore next, Indy again. Then you have Cleveland, Jacksonville, Detroit, Green Bay, and Houston. I think that schedule, I think the Titans have the upper hand just because of the two crappy teams that they're going to be playing over the Colts. I think the Colts, unless they get that run game going and that offensive line back, I think Tennessee is still in prime shape to win this division, especially if we get the special teams issues fixed within the next couple of weeks.
All right, so with the way that both the Indianapolis Colts and Tennessee Titans have been winning, before I get to you, Nate, I'm going to ask Trey one final question on this. Do you foresee both the Colts and the Titans both making the playoffs?
AFC is stacked. Oh, man. Let's go. Kansas City Chiefs, Steelers, Ravens. Yeah, I can see it because they take an extra team this year. I think two get in this division and 2 come out of the North. Well, I don't know the Vegas Raiders too, so they have a chance. Yes, but I think what I saw tonight, that defense for the Indianapolis Colts, that's a Super Bowl caliber defense right there, especially stopping at Beast and Derrick Henry and stuff. Because playoff time comes, it's stopping the run, and when cold weather starts coming, that's what the Indianapolis Colts do. They don't make mistakes. They make you drive the field, length of the field. They make you earn everything. So by saying that, I think that both these teams will get in.
All right. So going back to what you were saying, Trey. So if you look at each division, if you look at the AFC South, obviously in the AFC South, I'll start with the AFC East. So when you look at the AFC East, the two best teams in that one are Buffalo and Miami. Now, realistically, both teams could make the playoffs realistically because Miami has a solid defense. Like their defense is actually really good. Tua has looked pretty impressive. Buffalo's good. So I think that both those teams make it. And then you look at the AFC South. Then you have Tennessee and Indianapolis. Both those teams are good. And then you jump to the AFC West. And then you break down the AFC West. And how many teams do you foresee making it there?
1.
2.
Okay,
2.
Nate, you're saying 2. Nate, you're saying 2.
Not the Broncos.
Okay, so but no, you're not saying the Broncos, but you're probably saying the Chiefs and the Raiders, right?
Yes, Raiders being that 7th seed and Chiefs being I would pick them at 1.
Okay, so right there, that would be 6 teams. Now there's still one division to go, and that other division to go, you have Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Cincinnati, and Baltimore. Now, since we already have 6 teams, you're going to only be able to have one more team in there. So some of the teams we just mentioned at least one of them is going to be left out because Pittsburgh's going to make it. Baltimore's going to make it. So that makes 8 teams. So one of those teams that we said, like we were saying before, AFC is stacked. So when you look at the AFC side, one of those teams are not going to make it.
I think that team that's not going to make it is Miami. I think they'll barely miss it. Like that number 8 seed. Like going to be competitive until week 17, and then week 17 is when they get out.
So
Against Buffalo.
Yeah, it's Buffalo. They play Buffalo.
Mhm.
Uh-huh. So you take Miami out. So
Yeah,
you said
I
that
take Miami
Miami
out.
doesn't make it. So Trey, out of all those teams we said, are you taking Miami out too and putting in the Colts and the Titans?
Well, I don't have the Raiders in the playoffs. I think they're going to slip.
So you don't have them. Okay.
I don't have the Raiders.
So are you going to put in the Dolphins over the Raiders?
Yes, I have the Dolphins over the Raiders, especially with Tua time. That's what I predicted when Tua started playing.
I'm gonna have to laugh at both these comments right here. Brandon Herrera said Colts will have an easy win next week, and they play the Packers.
He just wants to give me a hard time. That's all. Because
And then now he's giving me a hard time with this next comment. He said Denver should move to the NFC East so they
Yes.
can have a real playoff team.
It's true.
From the
It's
East.
true.
That's true.
if they were in the NFC East, they would have a legitimate shot. And you know the funny thing is even if the Jets played in the NFC East, they would have a legitimate shot.
There'll still only be 2 games out.
Right?
Well, the
Yeah.
difference is that if Denver moved to the NFC East, then I do think that they are going to make the playoffs. If the Jets move to the NFC East, I think they'll be last.
All right. So really quick. So Trey, yes or no that both teams are making it?
Yes. 2 from this, 2 from the south, 2 from the north, 1 from the west, and 2 from the east.
Okay, because you took the Raiders out and you put the
Mhm.
Dolphins in. Okay, so Nate, now I'm going to you. Are both the Colts and the Titans making the playoffs? And who's winning the division?
I'm gonna agree with you on this one. About when you said earlier about the Titans having the upper hand. So I think that they are going to win this division, yes, and I do think that the Colts will make the playoffs. The one thing I will rebuttal on is I think that the Texans are an easy one.
Now, I think the only reason why Trey's saying it's not easy is he's throwing out the records on this, and you got to look. It's a divisional game, so you have to throw out the records. It does not matter. At that point, all records don't matter in divisional games. So, and most divisional games are going to be tough. So I think that's why he's saying it's gonna be a tough game. But with what you're saying both teams are going to make it. I think the only thing different than Trey that you had at this point in time was you had the Raiders in instead of the Dolphins, correct?
Yeah, I have the Raiders instead of Dolphins.
Oh, so just a slight change. But
yeah,
I'm going to have to go. Oh, man. I'm going to stick with the teams that I originally had. I do believe that the Dolphins make it. I think after what I saw tonight, even though the Colts have the tougher schedule, I don't know. I just feel that somehow the Colts are going to come out on top of it. From what I saw, I'm going to base it off defense because the Colts have a way better defense than Tennessee does, and it's not even close. So just based off that, I have to go with the Colts. We do have a few more comments here. Sorry, that was Brandon Herrera. I don't know why I clicked on that, but thank you, Brandon Herrera. And I'm sorry she passed. My condolences, sir. But hey, she's a Packer fan. That's awesome. All right, so Jason Barber says the Colts. He said that the Colts were going to win the division before the season started.
He did. I remember that. I remember he said that. I didn't believe him. I still have the Titans over the Colts, but I remember him saying that.
Mm-hmm. And Dave Esparza is also saying the Colts are going to win the South also. Now, if you remember the other thing that we laughed about before the season started, it was actually a prediction that Mr. Freddie Henderson threw out there about the NFC West. If you remember when we talked about the winner of the NFC West, he said that the LA Rams were going to win the NFC West. But I mean, they're being competitive. They're competitive, but I don't think they're gonna win the West. But I want to jump over to the NFC side just really quick since we talked about the AFC side. So now we're going to talk about the NFC side before we end the show. And now when we break down the NFC side, I'll start with Trey on this one again. Since 7 teams are going to make it, we'll go ahead and we'll start with the NFC East. Obviously, we know that one team in the NFC East is going to make it. Who do you have winning the NFC East at this point?
Man. No, I hate to say this because I am a Cowboy fan. If you go by Philadelphia, I mean, they're injury, but they're the team that can get healthy. They still have their starting quarterback in Wentz. Cowboys are a mess at quarterback, even though Gilbert had a pretty good game last week against Pittsburgh. Washington football team just a mess, and then New York Giants, they don't even care. I think they're going to get a good draft pick for a quarterback class. So I would say the Philadelphia Eagles just by a process of elimination on that one.
Okay, so we obviously go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was going to say, so we obviously know that one team from the NFC East is coming out of it. We're not getting 2. We have Dave Esparza, who's saying the winner of the NFC East is going to be the Giants. And then
2020.
I know, right?
2020.
And then we have Brandon Herrera, who's saying the winner of the NFC East is going to be Washington. And I don't know, it's the NFC East right now is going to be such a freaking toss-up at this point in time.
It's 2020. The only thing that we know for certain about these playoffs is that the Jets won't be a division leader.
They're not going to be in the playoffs, bro. So, okay.
Yeah.
So we have one coming from the East. Now, Trey, jump to the West. When you look at the West, you have Seattle, San Francisco, Arizona, and the LA Rams.
Mm-hmm.
How many are making it from the West?
3.
Wow, you got 3 coming from the West, huh?
So do I.
Seattle, Arizona, Los Angeles.
Wow.
And then 2 from the South, and then 1 from the North.
Okay, so 2 from the South. Obviously, it's the Saints and Bucks. So you have the Saints and Bucks in the South.
Yep.
Now I have to hear your take on the North.
If you just look at the standings, Green Bay's winning at 6-2. They're going to win the division. Chicago, you can't trust their offense to save. Nick Foles, I don't know what's going on. That quarterback thing is horrendous right now. I don't know why. And if I'm Nagy, I might be thinking about going back to what's his face, Trubisky.
Mitch Trubisky. Yeah.
He's undefeated.
So let's see. So Trey, you actually have somebody who agrees with you on the NFC West. Dave Esparza is actually saying Seahawks, Rams, and Cards. But which team do you have? But what team do you have winning the NFC West?
Oh my! If you would have asked me this before last week, I would have said Seattle hands down. But the thing that scared me about Seattle is their defense. The defense can't stop anybody. And right now they're 6-2, and Arizona, Los Angeles are right on their heels at 5-3. And then I'm going to go Seattle because I'm trusting a dangerous Russ.
Davis Esparza is picking the Cardinals. He's saying that the Cardinals are going to win the West. Which, you know what, they've already beaten Seattle once.
Yeah,
I think it'd be Seattle and then Arizona and then the Rams, but I think all 3 are going to make the playoffs.
Okay, so we know all Trey's teams, as if you look at who Trey's got in the playoffs in the NFC right now, he's got He said the Eagles in the East, and then when you look at the West, he's got Seattle, Arizona, and the Rams. So those are the 4 teams he's got, and then he's got the Saints and the Bucks, 5 and 6, and then he's got the Packers at 7. Those are the 7 teams he got. Were you going to change it?
Man,
Because it looked like you were going to say something.
I really want to put 4 teams in. I do. I just can't believe San Francisco is going to stay beat up all year. And if San Francisco gets healthy, because they're only a game behind the Bears right now, I could see San Francisco leapfrogging them.
Yeah, but you didn't have the Bears making it, so you would have had to take out somebody
That's
else.
true.
So you would have had to. So they would have to pass either the Rams, the Seahawks, or the Cardinals, or they would have had to pass either
That's
the
right.
Bucks.
That's
or
right.
Saints.
That's right. I overlooked over Tampa Bay. I'm sorry. I was looking at New Orleans. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and I don't
You're right.
see them leapfrogging the Bucks. I don't
No.
think they're going to.
No.
So those are your 7.
Yes.
So Nate, give me your 7 coming out of the NFC.
Do you want me to go in order or just divisions?
It doesn't matter. Just whatever you get.
I think that number 1 seed will probably. Yeah, I want to say. I'm going to give it to Green Bay. I think that number 1 seed is going to go to Green Bay. Number 2, going with Seattle. Number 3, I'm going to go with New Orleans. And then number 4, Philadelphia. Number 5, I'm going to go with the Bucks. Number 6, I'm going to go with the Cardinals. And then number 7, I'm going to go with the Rams.
So basically the same teams that Trey has.
Yeah.
And the one thing I will give you props for that I was going to say, my man, you finally said the right thing when you were talking about between the Saints and Bucks. You finally said the right thing because everybody's jumping on that Bucks bandwagon. But after what I saw last week, the Saints put the royal beat down on the Bucks. I'm telling you what, I'm taking the Saints in the South, man. I think that they're going to be coming out of the South as the division winners. Trey, do you have them winning it too?
I had Tampa Bay at the beginning of the year. I will say this: New Orleans is a problem for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But saying that, New Orleans is having trouble with all these other teams as well. Remember, New Orleans still got to play a first place schedule as well. So they're playing all these tough teams coming up, or Tampa Bay's playing like a last place schedule from the last year. So they're only 2 games back because they've lost twice to the Saints. So they have all the tiebreakers, the Saints do. But I can totally see Tampa Bay going on and win the rest of their games, and I can see New Orleans losing 2 more games. But I can also see New Orleans winning it. But right now, I'm going to stick with the Buccaneers for right now. I just am.
All right. So that was pretty much all of our topics tonight. So our final thing tonight is going to be I'm going to give Nate 30 seconds to go ahead and say whatever it is you got to say.
Just in case if you missed it, I posted a few things on the ASAP Facebook page. Something fantasy related and a NBA trade rumor that's been going around the media a lot lately. If you missed it, go ahead and check that out and make a couple of comments and other stuff like that. And then as an my NFL boldest pick of this week, I wouldn't be surprised if the Steelers lose against the Cincinnati Bengals.
Wow.
Right?
But that's because of the COVID stuff.
That's true.
Big Ben's
That's
on
true.
COVID and
All right. So Trey, you got 30 seconds.
I could totally see the Bengals winning, but I think Ben Roethlisberger's coming back. He's going to play. He's going to play Sunday. He's got to pass 2 more tests. It's going to be a fun week in the NFL. Don't give up. It's just been a fun year, whatsoever. I think it's going to be a fun finish the second half of the season. All these great games coming up, so I'm intrigued and I'm very appreciative of being on this show and everyone come tune in and listen.
All right. So to finish up the show, I want to say thank you, Trey, for your first episode. It was fantastic. Thank you, Nate the
Thank
Great,
you.
for joining us tonight on the post-game show. It was a blast to have you on again, to hear your thoughts about the game and your predictions and everything else. It was a great night. I want to thank all of our fans who commented, and it's always nice to have those comments out there. It's always great to hear those, to get everybody's opinions, and to let everybody know that even when you comment, you enter a chance to win a free t-shirt. That's all you got to do. Comment, like, and share. That's it. And then you have a chance at winning a free t-shirt. Now, even if you can't comment, share and like and everything like that, you still can get one of those awesome t-shirts. And how do you do that? Well, all you have to do is spend $25 plus shipping and handling, and you can get a t-shirt. And I'll tell you what, who would not want one of those t-shirts? Those t-shirts are freaking awesome. I don't see who would not want one of those, because I'll tell you what, all the analysts right now, they all want them. They're all trying to buy them. They're trying to get them. People out there are buying them. They're messaging us saying, we want some shirts. Okay, fantastic. You know what? We'll get you some shirts. So, last but not least, thank you everybody for watching. And no, Dave Esparza, you're part of the ASAP team, so you cannot win one. I'm sorry. Analyst, that doesn't count. You can't win one. All right. So
I just want to have a chance to say this. I know a few people did already. So get your ASAP t-shirt ASAP. Finally, I said it.
Yes. And when you win your shirt, you get your ASAP shirt ASAP. Thank you very much. And I hope everybody has a wonderful night. And check out Sports Corner tomorrow with Logan and Big Shaw. And then again on Saturday, you can check out Sports Minute with me, J-Mac, and the Vic. So everybody have a fantastic night. And we will be seeing you again. So everybody, have a good night.
All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making the plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety, topics never the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace up the field, so type the laces. All sports, all plays. Network. All sports, all plays. Network. We on top of our game. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays.